Memorial Day allows me to tell you about the greatest people I have ever known. People with whom I had the honor of serving with for more than 12 years, and the all too many of them who made the ultimate sacrifice. I think about each of them every day and wonder what they'd be doing now had their lives not been cut short. I remember their smiles and nervous jokes during our first day at the Naval Academy. Some seemed smarter than God, while others seemed just too laid back to even survive plebe summer. But most of us did. And after 4 years, I remember our collective relief as we experienced the joy of graduation and our newly found confidence as we were commissioned ensigns and second lieutenants in the Navy and Marine Corps. Just a few years before, we were regular students spread out at more than 1,000 high schools across the country. While most of our old high school friends were beginning jobs in corporate America or heading off to business school, we were entering a much more dangerous profession, and we knew many of us would not live to see our 5, 10, or 20-year reunions. But time quickly moved on. I remember the extremely hot and humid days of flight school, where we met new brothers and sisters not just from Annapolis, but from a whole array of colleges and universities across America who amazingly, after 4 years at a civilian school, chose to join the military. I remember the weddings and the births of our first children. And I also remember the last time I ever spoke to them. At the time, of course, I didn't know that, but when word of their death reaches you, you suddenly remember it all in detail. I am not sure who was the first to die. I remember my last conversations with each of them as if it were yesterday. They were classmates, shipmates, co-pilots, and friends who gave their lives serving the cause of freedom. Some died in combat, some died in operational accidents, some died from rare illnesses contracted in the line of duty, and some died traveling between duty stations, rushing to make a ship's departure. They were regular people with hopes and dreams of becoming, among other things, admirals, generals, and astronauts. Like you, they also shared the hope of raising their children in a free world. Although they were smart, brave, and ambitious, none aspired to become the heroes they became. No matter who, no matter where, and no matter how, when we lose just one of these patriots, we all lose. In civilian terms, they were experts in logistics, project management, people management, and financial management with a proficiency that rivals almost any CEO anywhere in the world. But above all, they were leaders whose skills were honed and perfected in an industry where success was measured not in terms of profit and loss, but in terms of life and death. Despite having mastered these skills, they were driven by, above all else, the deepest sense of personal honor and integrity, possessing character often lost in today's corporate world. Society can have a hard time understanding their dedication to the concepts of honor and integrity, even to the point where they dismiss it as military arrogance or even ignorance. But it is neither of these. Whether they were a corporal or a colonel, an airman or an admiral, they were extremely intelligent and capable men and women who were forced every day to deal in terms of life and death in a confusing and dangerous world. Just take a moment and think about the life each of our service members has chosen. Think about if every day you woke up and had to wonder if you'd live to see the next sunrise. For most of us, it never crosses our mind. But for them, it is a way of life every hour of every day. For them, it was and is not just patrolling the sky, ground, and seas in dangerous parts of the world. It could be the weather that makes landing a helicopter aboard the tiny flight deck of a destroyer almost impossible, or a wind that kicks up the desert sand, reducing visibility to mere inches. Barring these or one of 1,000 other unknown lethal variables, there is one threat that is known: the lurking enemy driving toward them in a truck bomb or firing at them with a shoulder-launched missile or rocket-propelled grenade. But still they go on, almost every day, for hundreds of missions, for thousands of hours, knowing at any moment they may be called upon to make the ultimate sacrifice. And then there are their families back home. This is the human side of military service. Unless you've lived it, you will never fully understand. We often forget, for every young man lost, there is usually a wife or fiance whose life and dreams have been crushed. For every young woman lost, there is someone back home who has just lost the love of his life. And for both, more often than not, there are children who will never see their mother or father again. With the families, every day is a sacrifice. Somewhere, at some time, today or tomorrow in California, the young wife of a deployed U.S. Marine will freeze in panic at the sight of an official vehicle driving by her house, praying it will pass her by and hoping her children don't sense her fear. Somewhere at some time today or tomorrow in Afghanistan, an Army sergeant in his early 20s will set out on a dangerous patrol after having just received word his 3-year-old daughter is at an emergency room in Texas with a fever of 105. Somewhere at some time today or tomorrow in the Persian Gulf, an exhausted Navy pilot will wrestle her F-18 back on the pitching deck of an aircraft carrier in the black of night after having just experienced a single engine failure while her son is finishing his final days of kindergarten back in Virginia Beach. Despite all of this, they continue to serve and sacrifice. The last few years have proven there are those who want to destroy our way of life. Like the evil Nazis before them, they don't want to negotiate and they don't want to compromise. They want to dominate, destroy, and kill. And despite their intense hatred for us, our lives continue pretty much as before because our military personnel are holding the line. They're fighting them hard in Afghanistan and in the streets of Iraq, where we have drawn the line and forced Al-Qaeda to squander their evil resources so they can't again be used in the skies above us as they were on September 11, 2001. Right now, they're patrolling neighborhoods and mountaintops, searching for and destroying an enemy whose main target is not even our military forces, but rather the innocent men, women, and children of the United States, who they see as enemies of their ancient and twisted ideology. An ideology that says anyone who is not like them or refuses to accept their ways must die. They stand against everything America is about. They insist everyone must pray like them, think like them, and act like them. If you don't, you could be their next target. If you're the wrong religion or a woman who dresses the wrong way, you could be imprisoned or executed. It's an ideology so extreme, even victims of rape can be sentenced to death because it assumes she must have done something to provoke it. They fired the first shots in this war, the bombing of the Marine barracks in Lebanon in 1983, the downing of Pan Am Flight 103 in 1988, the first World Trade Center bombing in 1993, the simultaneous bombings of our embassies in Tanzania and Kenya in 1998, and the bombing of the USS Cole in 2000. In the spirit of peace and freedom, we tried to negotiate and we tried to understand. But on September 11, 2001, they revealed their ultimate objective, the destruction of the United States and our way of life through the slaughter of innocent men, women, and children. The only thing that stands between us and them right now, today, is our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. We can all sleep soundly tonight because they are holding the line. And those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in this war can rest peacefully knowing that their deaths saved the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent Americans. Much to the dismay of our enemy, each American sacrifice in this battle strengthens their resolve. All they ask from us is the support to allow them to complete the mission through to victory. They can't guarantee us an end date. They are well aware of the casualties and they know there will be more. Despite this, they continue to fight and even die because they aspire to a principle of liberty that seems so hard for many of us to believe in today because we have, thanks to their sacrifices, never felt the fear of losing it. So today, we recognize and celebrate the lives of those who will not be coming home, those who will never grow old with their wives or husbands, those who will never attend their children's preschool or college graduations, and those who will never watch the ballet recitals or the t-ball games or run with their children across a beach, and those who will never know their grandchildren. They sacrificed all of it for us. They were very aware of this possibility when they volunteered, but they did it anyway. They did it because they strongly believed, as President Reagan once said, the United States is a shining city on the hill that represents the best hope for all people. So on this Memorial Day, celebrate the freedom they have secured for you. Make plans for the summer, make plans for your future, and make plans for your dreams, knowing that in this great nation, anything is possible. That's what they would have wanted, that's why they fought, and that's why they died. But as we celebrate freedom together, be sure to take the time to thank God for giving us such great people and never ever take the gift of freedom for granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. I would like now to have you all turn your